Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. To what extent has the urban planning and culture of the Indus Valley civilization provided inputs to the present-day urbanization? Discuss. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The urban planning and culture of the Indus Valley civilization represents a high water mark in the history of India. The level of maturity in town planning achieved by Indus Valley civilization was not to be seen for next many centuries. Therefore, it provides inputs to the present-day urbanization in many ways. The main body of the answer should be: Number 1. Indus Valley civilization was characterized by grid system of roads, underground drainage system, use of burnt bricks, balconies, toilets and many elements which are important components of present-day urban planning. Number 2. The efficiency of municipal governments in maintaining the hygiene, providing water supply, flood management, etc. inspires the modern urban planners. Number 3. Large areas each extending up to 100 hectares were allocated to each habitation. Number 4. There were personal well in many houses and also there were many common well for poor people. Number 5. Presence of large granaries inside city signifies the importance given to agricultural and storage of surplus production. Number 6. Jewelry, pottery, coins, sculptures and other elements found in excavation shows the richness of the culture of civilization. Number 7. The base of the Indus civilization's economy was certainly trade, which was facilitated by major advances in transport technology. The conclusion of the answer is: it is astonishing fact that the 19th century European cities had poor roads and drainage facilities than Indus Valley civilization. Urban planning is one of the major problems faced by India today, and most of the cities have mushroomed in an unplanned and disorderly manner. Therefore, Indus Valley civilization can work as a lighthouse for the modern-day town planners. Question number 2. Discuss Section 66 of IT Act, with reference to its alleged violation of Article 19 of the Constitution. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The essence of democracy according to the framers was the various freedoms which were fought for, and among them primacy was given to the freedom of speech and expression. This thinking crystallized into Article 19 and more particularly Article 19(1)(a), which proclaimed that all citizens will have the right to freedom of speech and expression. Moving on to the main body of the answer. Number 1. Section 66 allows for punishment for sending offensive messages through communication service, which include messages that cause annoyance, inconvenience, danger, obstruction, insult, injury, criminal intimidation, enmity, hatred and even ill will. Number 2. As a result, there have been arrests across India on the basis of a Facebook update, tweet and even sharing a cartoon online. Section 66 of the Information Technology Act has been wrongly applied by uninformed officers directly or under the influence of those in power. Number 3. Given the fact that political discourse and influence, or even a surcharged atmosphere about some issue, often dictates how the apparatus of the state behaves, Section 66 will continue to be open to misuse. Number 4. At one level, the problem is that the wording of the section makes it so vague as to be applicable to virtually anything anyone might find grossly offensive or causing annoyance or inconvenience. Number 5. Clearly, tasked with framing a law for something as open, voluble, free, and even anonymous as the Internet, the stunningly cunning draftsman decided to make it potentially applicable to anything said online. Number 6. So, the danger, like with the many instances of the misapplication of charges of sedition, of it being used both selectively and indiscriminately against individuals, groups, rights activists, journalists, political dissenters, etc. The conclusion of the answer is: all of which goes against the notion of a vibrant democracy in which 100 thoughts contend and collide without fear of being muzzled by the state. At the same time, Clause 2 of Article 19 of the Constitution makes it clear there are reasonable restrictions on the exercise of the right granted by Subclause A of the article. The operative word is reasonable. Clearly, something actively threatening the security of the state, or even an individual or group, needs to be restricted. Question number 3. While we found India's demographic dividend, we ignore the dropping rates of employability. What are we missing while doing so? Where will the jobs that India desperately needs come from? Explain. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. India is a young country. Nearly 65% of its population is younger than 35. It has an opportunity to drive economic growth on the back of its rising working-age population, those aged 15 to 64. The main body of the answer is Number 1. This population has boasted a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 2% since 2000, a situation often referred to as India's demographic dividend. Number 2. The nation is expected to add almost 10 to 12 million people to its workforce every year over the next 2 decades, with the working-age population crossing the 1 billion mark by 2030. Number 3. As other growing economies confront a rapidly graying population, India's young population could fulfill demand for skilled workers worldwide. Number 4. However, India risks squandering this demographic opportunity if it cannot create quality employment opportunities at scale and train its growing workforce to excel in those jobs. Number 5. The world today needs people who can learn to constantly reskill themselves without waiting for their college or employer to nudge them. Number 6. In India, we are still too obsessed with academic qualifications, which may not even be appropriate to obtain a job. Vocational training is still considered a last resort. There is need to spread awareness about the various skilling program schemes. Number 7. The training institutes need to tie up with more schools and/or colleges to make students aware of the opportunities. Training institutes such as the ITs are underutilized. Number 8. The gap between the need of employee versus skill of hired should be bridged by mandating a certain number of training days for the employees. Number 9. In the next 20 years, the labor force in the industrialized world is expected to decline by 4%, while in India it will increase by 32%. Number 10. This implies that India has a huge potential benefit in terms of labor availability and cost which the country needs to encash. Number 11. Technically skilled and business-oriented youth should be encouraged to explore the entrepreneurship option and create jobs rather than looking for secure wage employment. Number 12. India has many of the bits and pieces for job creation today. For example, it is an international leader in information technology driven by the private sector. It has numerous startups driven by fledgling entrepreneurs. The conclusion of the answer is bringing these pieces together into an integrated and coordinated master plan will solve the job creation puzzle in a manner that will make India and its people economic leaders in the 21st century.